To start this episode, I want to clarify the two archetypes we can recognize when mentioning angels. This can be split into two types of energetic beings, or states. One is of lack and of separation. The other is of abundance and unity. Today, we will be talking about the first stated angel, or collection of energy, which is lack of separation and inherently chaos. To be clear, if you are not already aware, it's to be noted there are specific Hertz frequencies which we can see in somatics and other sound studies, which create solidified structures and shapes. Other Hertz frequencies we can see either distorting atoms and materials it's near, creating an unstable structure with no unified formation or completion of abilities. Others do create solid shapes and abilities. In the topic of today, we are chatting on the vibrational structure of chaos, which is embodied in the stories of sirens and portrayals of angelic beings. There are two things I want to mention prior before going any further, though. One is I will continue to use sirens and angelic beings as interchangeable words throughout today's topic, and it will be the umbrella term for the energetic collection of chaos. Though these are only chosen because they are most commonly known in society to cover the frequency and energetic exchange that I wish to convey today. Secondly, off that first point, sirens and those angels of lack personified, they are vibrations in conceivable translated topics. And for everyone who speaks multiple languages, you know things can get lost in translation. So I want us to all be thoughtfully aware that those two words are just titles and nothing more than that, to identify a vibrational expression of chaos made manifest. It's not some deity or God or something outside of you that will haunt you because you speak its name. It's a vibrational signature, just like the infinite others that are within Source. It's not special and it does not hold power over you as long as, you understand how it works. And for that reason alone, we will be explaining in depth the role of sirens and angelic beings, while also looking directly at what makes up a siren and what makes up the observer, who isn't so enticed and drawn into the siren or angelic cries and wailing. To ensure full understanding, not only will we explore their essence, but we will learn to naturally transmute and move past the destructive tendencies which these vibrations play and involve in. Spoiler, it's not denying the energy of its existence, nor is it indulging in it to your end. I will give you the short answer now, and we will explore much more later. The answer is to identify as the I am. The I am that I am. So let's start, shall we? A siren previously mentioned as an angel of lack is exuding the vibration of chaos. A production of said frequency is made by the separation from something, if not all or most things in identity. Due to its unstable frequency, it's aware that it knows it cannot sustain itself, and in so it uses direct energy of electrical focus to create magnetism to self. One specifically with such amplification that it is so hard to ignore, especially for those who are even a bit unstable themselves. The siren's call, or angel's cry, at base value, is a vibration, usually characterized by the sound we can perceive, our body's translation. This vibration carries information of lack in the separated being. It's information begging to be seen. Of course, we will talk more on the characteristics of the siren and why it's occurring and why it's exuding all of this, but for right now, I want you to note the vibration is a warning, an alert. Neutrally, it is telling a frequency and reflecting to you that there's a disturbance within your frequency, just like a tornado siren. Only once the tornado has been spotted or is forming will the siren go off. I believe the name of siren is actually quite fitting because truly, like a siren, it's to warn you that there is danger. Something to say that if you continue at this rate, you will find your end, to perish if you continue in your ways. This tool interestingly enough, is the kind of version of vibration. I say this because there are two types of vibrational plays: the observer and the manifested. The siren or angel's cries, the vibration simply showing itself to be seen in the collective pot of options. It's to note that nothing has been chosen yet. It's all within the mind. It will fill your ears, your eyes, and it will fill your mind and touch at your heart. But only if you act on it will it become the second stage of vibration, to crystallize and manifest within itself. Here there is no more choice. It is already done. The vibration is inescapable, and your entire being is vibrating as such. It's not so kind anymore, at least if you were not aware of what you had chosen prior. If the call shows itself, what does one do? The observer is called in to acknowledge. The siren, the angel, draws one in to be acknowledged. They both crave acknowledgement, to be seen and integrated into unity. They just go about this craving in different ways. A siren is direct in getting the acknowledgement for the part it feels separate from, its suppressed identity. The observer goes about acknowledging others being and expressing all they suppressed and separated from themselves. And in the roundabout way, they can feel okay once another person is being what they wanted to be. To crave acceptance, connection, while never being the ones to acknowledge and see oneself, to understand oneself. The observer, or said siren, and said siren, both share a frequency of chaos. They identify with lack, the chaos vibration. And just like the siren, instead of focusing energy towards self, they focus negatively towards other, the observer. And here in the observer, the electrical focus on all the attention they give to other will create magnetism, as anytime you have an electrical charge, you get magnetism. And so, because they lack any self-magnetism for themselves, because no attention is on themselves, they will destroy themselves, being so magnetized to others, while also focusing that little energy they have never on themselves and only to their magnetic desire. And why do the desires magnetize them so much? Because we are subconsciously aware of what we want, what we will be drawn to, and things of such will vibrate at similar frequencies to what we wish to experience. One desiring money to such an unhealthy extent, when they see anything that looks like money, they will chase it. Anything that even resembles it. And if it's a larger amount, a larger quantity, they'll run harder and give more energy. The desire only grows and the energy is amplified because at no point does that person ever feel fulfilled within themselves. So from the identity of I am something lacking in perspective instead of the I am, one will use all their energy and try to chase what it is they see outside of them in a constant cycle of intoxication yet never feeling satisfied. Both the siren and the observer have this in common, to never be satisfied. It is the siren's call or angelic wails which are amplified in that vibrational being which takes pain, chaos, hurts, and it multiplies them in ampage. It keeps the same frequency, but it creates more strength in each wavelength. This is necessary to note because when we are looking at the science of sirens and those mesmerizing calls of angelic cries, which are usually depicted as high-pitched, meaning high frequency. High pitch and amplification are two different things as they are on their own. But amplification deals with strength of loudness, right, to the sound. But it's important to mention these intertwine these two separate topics, as in the case of usually when you hear these high-pitched wails and cries, it grows in auditory strength. It starts out soft, it's high-pitched, but will grow in strength as one gives into it and they surround themselves in that siren's energy. It has this property of giving you more of what you choose to focus on. And in the observer who is seeking outside of oneself to get something, one will find it harder and harder to ignore the call which is seeking another's attention. Both the siren and the observer will mirror that they are seeking another's attention, the observer subconsciously drawn because the siren exudes what the observer has denied within oneself. One has denied an identity, vibrational expression within self, and so they have that unhealthy magnetism towards others who vibrate at that frequency we mentioned. It is here, I will say, one will chase their compatible frequency to their end. Not because they want to, but because they want to survive, and nothing of another frequency will be compatible. It will cancel or distort out their frequency, and so they'll only indulge and intoxicate the part of themselves until they are suffocated and drowned in their own desires. The true story of a siren is on your own accord, you will chase for just a taste. You will never be satisfied, and you will always want more. On your own accord will you use all your energy towards something outside of yourself. It will be your own accord. You will perish by your own actions. To not fall for the trap of sirens or the magnetic call of maybe an irresistible, beautiful angel, you must already be whole. A simple task, though many have been accustomed to it feeling like an endless feat and a failure to do so. There are plenty of videos, mine and the internet included, giving you easy directions on how to do so in practical ways. I will not be going on a tangent on how to explain so today. Instead, I will tell you, regardless of the specific desire of the thing you perceive to be separate from, it is only from knowing you already have it, that you are it, that you will transmute the pain and longing. There is no thing you're separate from, no good thing, no bad thing. The part that you identified to and the part that you despise, the part of you who idolizes an image and the part of you who believes not to have it, the one who idolizes and the one who denies, it's all you. The way to avoid the trap is to get out of your limited perspective. Stop identifying as I am something, as a singularity. You are more than one thing, you're more than a few things. You are the I am. To be whole in identity, you must differentiate to the I am that I am. You will not chase anything outside of yourself to your destruction, and your electrical focus will be back on yourself. You will create a natural magnetism because you have everything and are everything, so you are now compatible to receive everything you desire, which you no longer desire. You're just grateful to have it. Now, as for the sirens and angelic beings and the screeches and wails that yearn to be heard, they too are in unstable vibration. Their frequency of chaos and destruction, with their electrical focus on the lack within themselves. Unlike the observer who focuses on others to get fulfillment within themselves, all they do is focus on what they can do. The angel will conform to what they know others want, becoming that in order to get their own fulfillment from other. Acknowledgement, consciousness is what they want. The siren entity will create an electrical charge for what they do have within themselves, and from the perspective of, if I do this, I will receive something, energy, they create this magnetic pool and frequency, which will then pull in for their food and attract them. Because they are separate from what they desire and believe, there is this need for energy outside of themselves. And because of this, it creates that vibration, chaos, frequency we talked about. Because their identity is in the lack of I am to something, they are always unfulfilled and do not believe to be self-sustainable. They are separate from their own source. They will always need outside energy. Energy is food. In this case, the energy from others which they feast upon is their main meal. They do not have a connection with their inner source, and so they will disintegrate, withering away if they do not receive outside energetic force. Food. Again, if you are not already aware, energy, consciousness, focus, and attention are all the same thing. So when we suppress, deny, or give our attention to the separation of something, we are being separate from it. We are a whole, so the natural state of truth is to be whole, to be a unified structure of harmony. You are only operating out of chaos if you do not acknowledge something. So the desire to be made conscious specifically within the identity that has been denied or not acknowledged for one reason or another is their main desire. Unlike the observer, they will directly go and know they're trying to gain another's approval and fulfillment. The observer, however, is usually unaware they are looking for another's approval and conscious attention, while on the other hand knowing they are looking for an internal fulfillment or satisfaction. For the siren, they have continuously have to call out, singing their song for prey. They are always hungry. They are always needing to unify because it's always a temporary unification. It's passing by moments, never a unity with oneself to be sustained, only outside. They will feast on others, draining them of energy till they are dry in hopes to sustain oneself, continuously feeling empty as they are a cup with a hole at the bottom. For extra notes, you can see this pattern in archetypes of succubus, energy vampires, and other demonic entities and parasites. All simply are energies which do not vibrate and connect to source frequency, in so they can never self-sustain and are purely dependent on an outside source to sustain their life force. Back at topic at hand though, these energetic chaos which we see in the angel's wails and siren's call are sounds translated by unstable frequency, right? We talked on that earlier, how the frequency is also amplified. I want us to hone in on this specific part because the siren takes what the observer refuses to acknowledge and magnifies it to an indescribable, irresistible magnetism, so in your face and so potent you will have to literally tear yourself away from it because that frequency is matching you. It's a song. This call and cry is a cry for help, for attention, and to be seen. It comes at face value disguised as everything you wanted, though the physical look and the vibratory pattern are very different. A wolf in sheep's clothing, will you? It attracts those who think they do not have or cannot acknowledge what the siren gives, what the angel wails on about. It takes the hidden desires, suppressed emotions, thoughts, fears, and wants, combines them and makes your fairy tale on acid. Anyone who has not looked at the hidden parts within their shadow will not only fall victim, but they will indulge and find the sparkle of the siren too much to resist. Whether it's pleasure, sexual, mental, emotional, or the opposite of indulging in the pain you suppressed, the sadistic nature and the traumas you weren't allowed to look at and face. The call will match your hidden vibrations of denial, suppression. That is what it's matching. And the siren will not have to do a thing to call you in. It will not have to force you. The siren and angel crying completes its role all on its own. It's amplifying the chaos, and its expression, if it were aware, would know that it just needs to acknowledge itself. Yet this cry is to be acknowledged by others. It's a last hurrah, a last-ditch effort. Those cries and calls will only ever settle for other, because they won't ever look at themselves. It doesn't see oneself, it simply focuses on all that it knows, and all that it knows is separation, energy games, and survival. Only those who match the frequency and chaos will fall for such and indulge in the siren's game, as the people and circumstances which provide energy to the siren are nothing more than prey. The siren will choose prey, which is easy, willing, and unexpected. This is because only the unknowing and unwise will fall for a trick of chasing something outside of themselves. The siren and angel are aware that the fact that some will not fall for it, some will not even glance their way, rather be disgusted, repelled, or simply have a neutral regard for the vibrations and sounds. This leads us right into the understanding why some will never be attracted to those said sirens, and why also allowing us to see that the siren energy can be transmuted to an integrated, unified state. These energies are not compatible to all, specifically, and I'd say specifically to anyone who is whole, and anyone who is of the same frequency will commingle. You can only attract your same frequency because it is vibrating at that same hertz. There's no distortion, there's no canceling out. And so whatever they are idolizing and separating, well, a person won't fall for it if they're already connected. But for one who doesn't have gold, let's say, they're not familiar with it, they're not accustomed to it. So if you put two lookalikes together, one will not be able to accurately make an assumption on which is real or fake, and they might even just grab both. Or they may be hasty and just grab one. But if someone was familiar with the properties, feeling, and existence of gold, it would be rather apparent when they come across a lookalike that they'd have something to compare it based on their prior knowledge. They'd be able to make an accurate assessment. And as the saying goes, not all that glitters is gold. For the siren's call, it is just that. A shimmering light in the ocean, or that shimmering desert of an oasis, only to turn out to be a fraud, nothing more than a fake, nothing of what you thought it was. But only if you know better can you make accurate choices. With wisdom does your attraction change. So for those who are energetically aligned to the role of a siren, one must acknowledge the pains, hurts, and all that they have felt separate from as oneself. To be able to acknowledge and accept and be the part within themselves they have denied and shoved in the closet. Stop looking for someone else to say it's okay to be that. Stop looking for them to acknowledge who you are. You have to be it and be the I am. Cover your bottomless cup with a solid container which can sustain and actually be fulfilled. Know you are the source of all things and can receive all things. Focus on yourself, fill yourself, and find adequate sustenance with others while knowing that it is still you. Other is not anyone else. And it is if you can focus on that part within yourself that you can identify with it and create an electrical charge to magnetize, it will create the natural needed energy to create the magnetism to pull in energy for yourself. Identity changes must occur. Go from something to I am, to be all. Because you already have all, you already are all, and once you're aware of it, you can now receive it from a state of fulfillment, not from a state of needing it or lacking it. So, for our final message out, I want us to be aware of one thing more than anything. A siren's call or angel's wailing cry are warnings to our system we feel separate from something. And whatever that siren or angel invokes, it points us to what it is we are specifically suppressing within our own identity. Is it the pain which needs to be seen, integrated, and understood? Is it the desires of fulfillment, pleasure, and exploration that begs to be expressed, understood, and seen, and integrated? Nothing is inherently negative or evil, but it is our choice to suppress or unify. It's our choice which will determine our vibration and therefore our existence and how it will unfold. What we choose, what we have access to, and what outcomes we have will all be based on the capacity to take things as oneself, even if it's uncomfortable. How much can you take as you? So allow the cries to be seen as something begging and pleading. Allow the cries to be seen as you calling out to you. Understand yourself so you do not destroy yourself and those around you in the process of living. Enjoy.